Hello, Team ICAN-B. This is Dr. Davila. I would like to thank all of you for the phenomenal support and patience through this COVID-19 pandemic. I think our families are so fortunate to have a phenomenal group of professionals working with them. And I think on behalf of the organization, we really appreciate the support and, like I said, the patience that we have, that you have provided to us. It has been a very trying time for the organization, for the field of behavior analysis, and for the world. And I think that overall, like I said, we're very glad to have a great group of individuals and professionals working in this project at ICAN-B. One of the things that for sure has been mentioned to me has been the need for more resources to learn how to implement telehealth in a better way. And I think that one of the biggest things that I would like to emphasize is that we're all learning how to work with telehealth. So what I did is I actually was able to speak with some of your fellow colleagues at ICAN-B to see what they're currently doing. What are some types of resources, videos, apps, technology in general. What is it that they're doing that is working for them? In the future, I would like to invite more of our team members to future episodes. And I think once again, the biggest thing here is collaboration. So I really appreciate all team members who were open to the recording, who were open to participating. So once again, this video is going to be designed to provide resources to you so you can get some ideas and some different ways of how people are implementing their one-to-one, how they're running their supervision sessions, how they're running their parent training sessions. So I hope you find this video helpful. And if there's any doubt, any question whatsoever, you can always email me directly. So once again, this is Dr. Davila. I hope that this video is helpful for you. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Hey, good morning. How are you doing today, Lily?
Good morning. How are you?
So really quick, everyone, this is Liliana Guzman. Can you tell us a little bit about your time at ICAN-B? How many years you've been at ICAN-B and in the regions you're currently serving?
Yeah, so I've currently been at ICAN-B for about 3.5 years. I started off at Simi Valley, just Simi Valley as a BT, and now I'm a case manager in Simi Valley. I did Thousand Oaks for a year, and now I'm doing North Hollywood clients. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a really good experience.
Perfect. So just to confirm, some of the funding sources you're currently working with, I know that you're working with MHN and Beacon, so I know that some of those transitions have been, it's been a process for that. I know that Beacon specifically has been like the most difficult process for sure. So can you tell us a little bit about some pros and cons about so far that you've experienced with telehealth?
So with telehealth, honestly, it's been a lot of pros. I think the biggest barrier that I've had with the funding source is being able to look for items outside of the session times. We are able to call mom and just have her on the background. That way we can look for those strategies. However, a lot of parents are working from home, so they're kind of like on their phones, so they're pretty busy for the most part. However, I've taken upon myself to, anything that I look for MHN clients, I implement with the Beacon clients. So it saves me a couple of minutes.
Got you. That's a very good point you bring up, because I think that also corresponds to some of the limitations we have with some funding sources. So I think that's great. So let's see what you have for us today. I want to see some information here that you want to share to the team, some technology or different apps that you're currently implementing with your clients through telehealth.
So one of the biggest ones that I just came upon is this Pokey.com. This one actually was one of my clients. I would say use your clients, especially the older ones, because they are using like Zoom and everything. Their teachers are actually giving them different resources. So this one of my clients came up with. Basically, it's called Pokey.com.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it gives you a whole bunch of different games that you can just click on. This one, I will be very mindful. It does not work on Safari. So if you have a Mac, you have to use it on Chrome. But it has Cross the Road, it has Uno. You can literally look for the game up here and it'll go ahead and tell you, which ones you can play. if you click Uno, it will tell you how many players are playing. I would say if you're using GoToMeeting or Zoom, I would say share your screen. I've even had my client share the screen with me. So I make them the presenter and I like show them step by step on how to share their screen, just because it will let you play with them. But you also want to make sure that they're still involved.
That's pretty cool.
So I would say your presenter, it'll tell you the different steps. Right now it was really quick. The first day that you do play, it does take maybe 2 minutes for everything to load, but it's pretty cool.
And for this, do you need a subscription for this, or do you just log on to the website and you're able to access these different, games for free?
Yeah, so there is no subscription. It does make you like put your age.
Okay.
I believe that's all it does. From what I remember, I put my age and that was it.
Cool. All right, so that's a very good one. So that's Poke.com. So what's the next one that you like to show us?
So we have Go Noodle. This one, it was a bunch of like the case managers that when we had a meeting with Kristen, we talked about. This one is a little bit a hit or miss. It will be depending on your client. Same thing with Pokey is more for older kids. This one would be for like those kids that really love to dance. It'll tell you different songs and it'll let you like follow along.
Nice. So basically, you click on one of these videos, and then it's kind of like a dance game, or what is it specifically?
So it kind of teaches you how to dance. There are dance games here,
Okay.
but it's more of like a teaching you to dance. It gives you different steps. There is like little television like episodes. So like for Noodle Television, you can click it and it'll give you different like videos, but they're all music based.
Perfect. And this is the website for this is noodle.com or gonoodle.com.
GoNoodle.com, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share these different websites at the end of this presentation. So definitely, so far I have Poke and GoNoodle.com. Excellent. And what's the next one that you recommend that's really been helping the team, your team, and also your clients?
So I have YouTube. This one's a very easy one. You can literally put the children's favorite book on there and it'll read it to you.
For sure.
This one is a lot for, those kids that have that book hunger. It really, really does work. It reads the whole story to them. So it's really good. I would say share your screen with this as well. Zoom is your go-to for this, I think. It's very, very easy to use.
Nice. I love this. This is a great idea because you're right. Some kids are so like into books, and YouTube for sure has a lot of great, books that you can look for, and it reads it for the kids. So that's great. All right, that's a good one. And what's the next one you have?
So we have cool math games.
Okay.
This one, I would say share your screen. It doesn't let you play 2-to-1. But basically, it's a really, really good place to go. It's mostly for kids that are like your fourth graders, your third graders. You literally go to coolmathgames.com. You click on whatever game catches your eye. They have different ones. I think we played last time Ozark Rush. It's like a gold mine thing, but it gives you like little like math adding or subtracting things that you have to get in order for you to advance in the game.
Right on. That's pretty cool. Nice. All right. So that's for some kids that have the math skills and also can have some interest in these games. That's great. Make it fun, right? Math makes math fun for the kids. Awesome.
Back.
All right. What's the next one?
So I would say we have Whiteboard.
Okay.
This is a whiteboard app.
Okay.
I think Zoom has a whiteboard, but if you're not using Zoom, you can definitely go to Whiteboard.com.
Cool.
And it basically just lets you draw on it. Let's see. I think, hold on. I can't see it. There you go. So it lets you draw on it. This is good for like visuals, if you have those kids that need that structure, I believe just use this, put what you need. It lets you do little post-it notes. So add stickies and you can type it, easy, ready to go.
Nice. All right. And that's also free, that you can also access that for free?
Yes. all of these apps will be completely free.
Nice. And this is board.com.
Siteboard.com, yes.
Excellent. All right. And the next one I see
And
that you
you,
have scribbles and ink. This is a PBS site here, right?
yes, I would
Yeah.
say pbskids.org is one of the best sites as well. It has games, it has different things. So whiteboard for this one, I would say use your little kids. I would say use your little kids, as a lot of this has a lot of like little mouses, you know, so for a kid that's like maybe 12, it could be a little like
Yeah.
aversive. So yeah, so pbskids.org is really good resources there.
Excellent. All right. And the next one you have there, it's
So this is actually a live cam.
oh, cool.
There's a lot of live cam videos, museums. We discussed this with the CMs last time as well. Basically, you could put like kids on Google Kids live scams for free, you know, and it'll come up. We have a whole list. San Diego Zoo has it. I believe like one of the car museums has it. So look for whatever your kid likes. If your kid likes cars, just put car museum and then put like live streams, and it'll come up.
So basically, whatever interest you have on Google, you put in there, and you put in that live stream, and it should take you to that particular interest, right, that they're in. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Do you know if they have something like for like Disneyland or theme parks? Do you know if there's anything like for?
Yes, there is one for Disneyland. I have been looking for it though. It's been a little hard because there is like a specific website. So I haven't found it. Every link that I click, it keeps telling me, you know, go to this next click.
Perfect. All right, and then the last one you have there, I think it's you have one more to show us.
Yes. So this one we have Bunch. This one is only on your phone.
Okay.
I believe he introduced this to us. You do have to become friends with them.
Okay.
So it's, you know, it's a little more non-HIPAA compliant,
Yeah.
but it works. I would say because I did find the other one, this one first, Pokey. I would say use that one more.
Okay.
Just because it does, it's more, you know, you don't need to add them.
Perfect. Well, this is all phenomenal resources. This is all, I think it's gonna be so helpful for a lot of our supervisors and even behavior technicians that are, currently running one-to-one. So I truly appreciate the time, Lily. Thank you so much for being open to the recording, to sharing this, and for also, like I said, being a phenomenal team player. So, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Yesenia. Thank you so much for joining me with this telehealth resource presentation. And I would like for you to tell the team a little bit more about your time at ICAN-B, how many years you've been at ICAN-B, some of the regions you're serving, and also some of the insurances you're working with.
Okay, so good morning. It's been almost 4 years being in the company now. I believe I'm hitting 2 years as a CM. I'm currently working in the LA region, along with Medi-Cal clients and LA Care clients.
Cool. So basically, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk to you about resources here. Can you tell us a little bit about the first, resource that you found that's been really helpful for you to run your telehealth, sessions?
Yeah, so the first one was when you sent out the email about the different resources or YouTube links. There was one specific one. I honestly don't remember the doctor's name, but she was giving a day-by-day like transition steps on how to do our sessions, and she talked a lot about visual schedules. She talked a lot about finding different ways to kind of get the client's attention, and specifically working more with parents on how to work on compliance pretty much. That one worked a lot better for me. There was other links that I was kind of like, oh, these are just more like in a general aspect, but the specific person was actually giving a step-by-step what would work best for our clients, but in a more general sense.
Oh, perfect. And here I see that you have a few links that you would like to share the team. I see that you have Catalyst as your first link here.
Yes, so I have Catalyst. So currently we are transitioning a couple of my clients over to Catalyst just because a couple of them are um, are currently having sessions. So we're still working on it. It's kind of difficult, not going to lie, but so far it's been really good. I'm still uploading some of the programs into it, but it's been successful so far. That is one. I also have in the first couple of weeks, I actually sent out printable data sheets for my BT so they can print it out at home. And I have told them that, worst case scenario is that once they take those pictures of the data summation and the information to burn the papers instead of tearing them apart. I actually have invested a paper shredder here at home.
Okay.
So I like to write things down and then transfer them electronically to my computer.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then what's the next bit of technology you want to share for us here? Something else that you've been using in your sessions?
You know what is usually just like my BT sending me out the data submissions like this.
Got you.
And I do have one, I believe it was this one.
Okay.
So they write COVID-19 just to give me an idea of like, this is when it started. So the date is right here. They added new introduction dates and new mastery dates.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we can generalize the behavior across different people. So that's what we're working on right now. So a lot of my clients are actually doing more maintenance and parent training. And then I have another client that's doing toilet training with parents, which is actually pretty successful right now.
Great. I was going to ask you about that. So far, how are you currently structuring your sessions with parents? Like, what are some things that you're doing before, during, and after the sessions to make your parent training sessions, be very effective?
So what I do is first at the very beginning of, or at least like 10 minutes before session, I like to contact my BTs and kind of go over more like like an informal team meeting in a way, just to see how they feel with the sessions, if they have any questions that they can ask, because of course there's always interruptions like in between all three of us, or because the internet connection isn't the greatest at the time when everybody's using it. So I like to go over a couple things, make sure that they're running their programs, or let them know, hey, like it's okay if you guys can't run this one, just run a different one for the time being, or run two at the same time, just to get things rolling. During session, I like to just observe. The BT is the one who is currently working on providing feedback to the parents. And when they feel like they don't know exactly how to put them in words, then I always tell them, do your best to explain it to them. If for whatever reason they still don't understand what you're trying to tell them, then I'll step in and explain it a little more and elaborate on what is expected to see. And at the end of the session, once everything is done, I always provide feedback to both my BTs and my parents and let them know that they're doing a very good job and that I'm very grateful that they're willing to work with us and willing to work with their child for the benefit of their future. And then we'll go over as to what would be the next steps or what's the next thing on the schedule when I see them again.
Perfect. And in regards to sending them links, sending parents link, how's that process looking like? What do you do to send, let them know, remind parents? Because sometimes parents may have a hard time remembering the time to of the meeting. Like, what are some things that you're doing proactively to ensure that parents are logging in at the right time and accessing these meetings?
So with one particular client, because she is it's only her and mom, and then the client, sometimes she'll move the schedule around, but she's very good about making sure if we are available at the time that she's available. So we'll probably push back the session an hour later. If now we always end up making up the session. We have told her that the worst case scenario, we can always do it bright and early in the morning. And if not, then we just end up having that session in the weekend, like around 10 o'clock in the morning. My other clients' family, they're actually very good about it. As long as we tell them at the end of session, like, okay, we're gonna have session tomorrow at the same time, or if I tell them, okay, I'll see you on Wednesday, they're very good about following through with that. Lately, we've been using FaceTime. It's only like that somehow it's okay with the connection. But whenever we do have a clinical director join us, then we'll use a GoToMeeting, and that works sometimes.
Got it. Perfect. So, is there anything else that you would like to share to the team, in regards to, like, technology wise, or anything else that you want to, show team members what you're doing?
I do have one feedback. I would say that if for whatever reason the client is getting a little too distracted of seeing everybody's faces on the camera, what my team has been doing is that we've been covering our cameras when the parent presents the SD. So that way they're not distracted of our facial expressions or anything visual in that aspect. We will usually like cover our thumb of the camera, or even turn it off through the FaceTime or GoToMeeting. And then once they get it correct, then we'll kind of pop up like if it was like a peekaboo kind of thing.
Nice. Perfect. Well,
yeah.
Pretty much that's it. Thank you so much, Yesenia, for sharing this very important information in regards to how you're conducting your parent training sessions, how you're prepping, what are some things you're doing. A lot of the stuff that you're currently transitioning to the Catalyst, why are you transitioning to Catalyst? You're still using a lot of paper based data collection. I think that it's something a lot of people are going to experience. So I think that for sure when you talked about how you're getting these documents over to you and how you're afterwards ensuring that team members are, they don't keep these, documents just laying around. I think that's very important due to HIPAA, reasons. We cannot just leave documents laying around. So that's very critical. So I'm glad that you're keeping an eye on that. And I think at the end of the day, that's also part of our job, right? Part of our ethical guidelines is to ensure that we don't, confidential information is not just, all over the place. So that's really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I would suggest just staying, if it's a in-home session, like the supervisor itself, pick a specific area in the house where you feel comfortable enough to run the sessions. I've done it in the bedroom, and it's not fun, just because you kind of get distracted with everything around you. Just like ABA, environmental changes is critical to everyone.
Yeah.
So in my experience, living room or the dining room is actually the best bedroom. I know it's comfy, but don't do it.
No, for sure. No, thank you so much for those tips, and I think everybody's gonna be extremely, like I said, thankful and very beneficial to hear these things. So, you take care.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right. Hi, good morning, Ritz. Thank you so much for joining me today for this telehealth resource presentation. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been at ICAN-B, the regions you're serving, some of the funding sources you're working with?
Hi, good morning. So like I said, my name is Ritz. I've been in ICAN-B for 3 years, currently working in VC, and I have also worked in different regions and helping out just everywhere it needs to be. And we currently work with Beacon.
Awesome. So thank you for joining for this particular presentation that I think is going to be so helpful. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the different platforms and technology that you would like to share with the team?
Yeah, so currently I work primarily with Clocktree and also GoToMeeting. So those are the only apps that I really contact family with. In regards to if Wi-Fi is low, we really can't connect. I usually reschedule them for a later time. I really do limit outside those two. I haven't done Zoom, but other people have tried Zoom with me as well. As far as is that just the content, or do you need me to go through like any apps or websites?
No, I think so far
Perfect.
the platforms I think are pretty consistent with what most of the team members are currently using. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the resources that you're using right now for your telehealth sessions?
Yeah, so when able to prep for any sessions really regarding if it's parent training or direct session, one, you really do have to create data sheets. So it could be as simple as, Word, creating your own Word, have your programs embedded in there. I'm in the process of using Word and transferring over to Google document so that the case managers and I can share those documents back and forth. And in regards to resources, right here, PBS Kids, some of the kids really like interactive games. These are all free, so it really depends on who your client is. And sometimes parents don't even know about these apps or these websites. One of which is Nick Jr. This is obviously everybody knows, Ryan, very popular. So that could just be shown with your child. It's interactive, it plays with you, it says, the rules. One of which is one of my client loves stickers. And obviously we can't be there. So I think one of these, or I think was it PBS, that he can actually kind of have a sticker book. And these are all free.
Nice.
So
This is on nickjr.com, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect.
And it really kind of goes into different characters that the child likes, videos, games, whatever it may be. Some of them are puzzles too, so you just kind of have to see what your child likes. Or what I do is I tell a parent to go to this website, and then their child can choose and play for X amount of minutes. The other one too is just ABC, yeah. Kind of sorting things if you play it. So it's accounting, sorting, comparing type of apps, and it's very interactive. And with that, I use just a regular timer. So I just add it on here, how many minutes a child has. And it's great because with parents too, that may require a little break. Everyone can be on the same page. And any timers work. YouTube is primarily one. I don't have it up here, but you just do YouTube, making sure that those are obviously appropriate for your child.
Wow, this is all great information here. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then another one is obviously just like regular, just put a new web. This is a simulator that I've been working on during one of my sessions. So basically the child needs to follow instructions in identifying listener responding skills with feature function in class. So with this one, I would just have to make sure that the child can actually point to the right one and confirm that with the parent. One of which is I sent all of this information to the case manager or the BT that I work with, and one of which really impressed me because she created this template and added it into a cool presentation. So she was ready and prepped when session started.
Wow.
She didn't have to kind of look for anything. One of which is if I send this document to a parent, and I have, depending on who it is, instead of having the SD, touching, I would ask like, hey, circle, the one that barks. And then parent will just go to their art, and then they just basically have the child circle a dog or any of the animals that work here.
Nice. That's very interactive. I like all of that because I think a lot of kids really, really would find more interest if they're able to manipulate, some of those, movements there.
Exactly. And we're, obviously modify a lot of the SD. So it's not always touch or show me. It's more like circle or find the one that hops. And sometimes if they do touch it, that's fine. That's still a correct response. And then parent will be like, okay, remember, she said circle. So what do you do? So it's more of like an ABA with kind of a teacher instruction at this point.
Right.
Because obviously they're also doing Zoom in their end.
Great.
And that's pretty much it with my cases. Really just a lot of prep in order to have a successful session with either a parent or, one-to-one BT.
No, for sure. A lot of preparation needs to happen, and also a lot of like learning happens. Correct, as you kind of do the session, you're kind of like picking and seeing what really is the child gravitating more towards. So that is so true. So I really appreciate. Thank you so much for taking the time to speaking to me this today in regards to the resources. I think all this information is going to be very helpful for our supervisors and also our team in general. So thank you so much, Ritz.
You're welcome. Welcome. I really, really love doing telehealth, and hopefully everyone has their own ideas, and so we can all come together as an organization and just share those ideas with amongst ourselves.
For sure. All right, Ritz. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello, Ronnie. Thank you so much for joining me in this presentation here for telehealth resources. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been at ICAN-B? Some of the regions you're currently working out of? Some of the different funding sources you're working with?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, so basically I work in 2 regions. I work in the LA County and also San Fernando region. Some of the services that or the social services I'm providing is in LA Care and also MHN as well.
Perfect. And you say you work out of the San Fernando Valley area and also some of the LA County, other LA County regions as well?
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay, Ronnie, so can you tell us a little bit about the different platforms and different technology you're using for your telehealth sessions?
Yeah, so one of the things I try to do as much as possible is try to incorporate some things that are fun for the children and are cool for also for the parents to have as well. So one of the things I always do is implement like a 2-minute timer or 5-minute timer depending on like breaks. That way the kid also sees something and it's fun. There's sometimes the videos have music and things like that, so it's fun for the kids to also like hear something when they're on their breaks and during their thing. Like for example, in this one here's a 2-minute timer. I'll play for you guys here. So this one doesn't have sound, but it's basically just lets the child know like this is the 2 minutes, and once the timer is over, I believe it makes a sound. There you go, makes a little sound. So when the child hears that, they're able to come back and resume session or transition into whatever they're going to be doing next. So that's one of the things I do. I also incorporate like exercises, stretches, and things like that. So for example, this is a 9-minute exercise for kids. This is a home workout. So if I play a little bit for you.
Nice.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so I believe they also incorporate some rest periods too. So it'll have your little exercises or stretches, and then you have your rest periods inside the video. So you don't have to be timing the child or telling, hey, it's rest time. It's already in there, and it's a good way for I believe after like an hour to maybe like 45 minutes. It's in my personal opinion that most children, especially the younger ones, they don't last long. They get frustrated or they get bored easily. So it's fun to incorporate some fun activities like yoga, dancing, like stretches like this. I tell the parents firsthand that, because I've seen some parents what they tend to do is that they tend to go very serious with these things, and I'm like, and for my personal opinion, it's more like is for them to have fun and just to be active. It's not more than to kind of follow what the video is doing exactly, but more like, are they having fun? Are they incorporating something? Especially if the parents participating, are they having fun with you as well? So it's also building some rapport with the parent to have fun and do some fun activities.
That's great. I like this one a lot. And you just put stretching exercises for kids on the search engine, and you're gonna see the video there.
Exactly. And you also see here, there's like yoga for kids, kids exercise, burn fat, get slim, I guess. But there's different ones. What I usually do is before session or before even parent training, I'll look up videos just to see which ones would be like fun for each kid, because obviously every kid's different.
Yeah.
So I try to pair the videos to the child's like preferences, and like maybe if they have like a show that they like, I'll try to see if I could find an activity with that show or with that character, and then try to pair it with whatever they're going to be doing.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and what's the next one you have for us here?
So the next one is the wiggles. So for sure, every session, the big like maybe like 5 to 7 minutes of session, every session, we always go over social distancing, washing hands, and things like that. So I always try to find videos where the kids are washing their hands, or there's a topic about social distancing. That way they're always aware that they always have to, make sure they're keeping a good safe distance, they're washing their hands, they're putting on their masks. So things like that. So that way they're always practicing it, and that way they're always aware that it's there. So for example, the Wiggles came out with a wonderful song about social distancing. So I especially for the little guys, they really like the song. So I'll play it for you guys.
That's great, man. That's a very important thing right now for sure. So that's a good resource. I'm sure a lot of kids would highly like this stuff. And do you have anything else for us?
Yeah, so also for parent training, so obviously since we're not there, I try to find videos that help us express some of the terminology and even some of the things that we do. So for example, what if one of my parents were going through the BST model, the behavior skills training. So there's videos, for example, here, if you look to the side here where it says shade definition, ABA treatment for autism, there's a lot of videos about reinforcement, extinction, and things like that, what they look like. Obviously, it may not be exactly what you're implementing, but it's a good model for at least for them to see and kind of understand what they're going to be doing, what it looks like, maybe a little bit of what it is. That way, they're aware of what they're doing with their client, or not with their client, with their children in general.
Great.
So, for example, here's a video.
Behavioral skills training is an effective model to train caregivers, which involves the following 4 steps: instruction, modeling, rehearsal, and feedback. Let's discuss the first step of BST, which is instruction or explanation. You will begin by describing the target skill to the caregiver in detail, as well as explaining why the skill is important and how to perform it. This step also includes motivating the caregiver, such as by telling.
And it goes over the whole steps.
So
And you
you
can see
basically, so Ronnie, you basically play this video to the parent, and then the parents, hearing it out, watching the visual of this, and then afterwards you select a skill, I'm assuming, or behavior, and then you start, having them practice implementing these 4 different key components for the BST model.
Exactly. So that's what I'll do, or I'll ask them questions as to like, look, I noticed in last session that you weren't implementing this. How about we start implementing it this way? And I'll show like the BST and kind of explaining like in this version of it, you should provide free reinforcement or some form of feedback before you go to like punishment or something like that. So basically making sure they're understanding like what they should be doing in different scenarios with the BST. And like as you can see here, it's 1:25 because I tend to notice that parents, they don't focus for too long either. So what I do is I try to find videos that are straight to the point, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to ask for them, and then I'll just basically make it more towards wherever they're in need at that moment.
Correct. Perfect. And you have one more video to show us here, one of the YouTube videos.
Well, I have multiple videos, but I'll just kind of go through them quick. This is another one, so providing feedback. Because I notice a lot of times what parents tend to do is especially at home, they get frustrated, they yell at the child or they scream at the kid, or they have very low patience. So I try to find videos where, for example, in a teaching setting where there's multiple kids, how a teacher would do it and how we would do it. So for example, in this one,
welcome to this short
feedback
presentation as they participate in a learning activity, whether it's a planned activity or an interaction that occurs during playtime or during routines. This is the kind of feedback that teachers use to expand on children's understanding. One way that teachers provide good and useful feedback is by involving the child in meaningful back and forth exchanges. The teacher might make comments or ask probing questions that help the child go beyond a simple response and help the child elaborate on the concept or connect the knowledge with other things he or she already knows.
What happens if we had eyes over here and then the song came out? What do you feel when the song came out? So the song is gonna make what? Warm. It's gonna warm when the sun came out, you feel warm. So the warm makes the eyes wet. Warm.
Great.
The sun makes the eyes wet.
Yeah, so like kind of like examples how like the teacher would like
Yeah, that's good.
prompt.
That's good. That's
like
good
that.
because I think I always say, especially in during this pandemic and when there's a lot of telehealth that's necessary, the last thing you want to do is do too much. We go away from didactic, right? Too much didactic, and maybe use some more video modeling, and then do some of that in vivo feedback, right? That you're kind of referencing here. So that's a phenomenal tool here. You're using some video modeling to show specifically what it is that you're looking for the parent to implement. Good.
Yeah, this is the website. It's use.gov. Right here, you can see here they have other videos, for example,
Great.
stating behavior patients, schedules and routines.
That's US Gov ACF.
Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Ronnie. So yeah, this is all great. I like how you have a good variety of, some of the
Uh,
fun activities.
I have
you wanna
other
do.
videos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, sorry. Like this is, for example, because that what I showed you was more for like a child who, were for my little guys basically. But this is more for my older clients
Hmm.
who are like 10, 12, 11. So for example, like here we have different topics. Like right here's an example of a phone conversation. Like what I'll do is I'll have a good example and a bad example. That way our client knows what to kind of see. Obviously these are a little like over the top, but it's good for them to kind of be aware of it. So for example, this is starting a conversation of what not to do. So what I'll do is I'll show this to our older client, and then after that we'll ask questions, maybe even role play a little bit,
Mhm.
and then kind of go over all the other things that we need to do.
Oh, what are you doing? Watching TV. Oh, what are you watching? Some reality TV show. Oh, I like reality shows. Okay. So what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. Okay, time out. So what did Tony do?
So for example, that's a bad
Good,
example.
good.
And
Yeah,
then we have,
some
like,
of our older clients, like you said, are going through that process of learning. Good.
mhm. Yeah, so like, for example, this is an appropriate version of it.
Hello. Hi, can I speak to Jessica? This is Jessica. Hi, this is Tony. Oh, hey, how's it going? Pretty well. How are you? I'm good. So, can you talk right now? Sure, yeah. So I was just calling to see how you've been doing. Oh, I'm good. I'm just busy with school. Oh, yeah? How's school going? We have a school dance this weekend. That sounds fun.
And they go over the whole skit. So basically, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go over the two videos. We'll ask questions, basically anything, and then role play with the child if possible,
Right.
and then see how they interact, or they'll maybe pick out what the person was doing wrong in the video and explain to us like why it's wrong or what they could have done better, and then kind of go that way.
Perfect. And then one of the things I was going to ask you is when you do your supervision, you model, right? You do a lot of modeling with your behavior technicians. You basically run the session for them, and then afterwards you kind of systematically fade yourself out.
Yeah. So for example, here, like in this sheet that I have here, this is an example of what I did before session. So I looked at what today's session is going to look like and pick out videos and how to structure it. And then what I did is I like I said, I ran this first or second session, and then I just showed them, look, I'm gonna go over it. I just want you guys to see an example of maybe how we can do it and kind of move forward. And then I ran the session. They participated as well whenever I called upon them. So yeah, so I would model the first two sessions. And it's a lot of trial and error. It's also looking at what the child or our client does as well. So if the client's really into it and likes it, then I know that we're on the right direction. Now if the client's not into it, like for example, a lot of our little guys, we're not really into the videos, we're not into maybe the music. So what I did is I changed the model to have more parent be involved. So what I did was I'll have a parent training for maybe 45 to 30 minutes with the parent, explaining what we're going to be doing that session, what the goals look like, how you should deliver the instruction, the SD, how to deliver reinforcement. And we also incorporate board games into the session as well, or maybe going outside for a bit and they get to do the stretches outside. So basically kind of find ways where they also participate in the home. Or another thing I noticed my BT does is her name is Tanya. She'll go on to see here, coloring book. See if I could maybe find the image. Sorry. So she'll like for example find one of these pictures, and obviously her computer is a little different. She has a Microsoft, but if anyone has Microsoft, what they could do is they could maybe download this picture or take a copy of this picture, and they could color it with the child. They could maybe send a version it to the parent, and if the parent has like a printer, they can print out the same sheet and they could color it together. So that's something I noticed that Tanya does with our client as well. We also incorporate, for example, with the Microsoft, I also noticed that they have like for example here, they'll, sorry, that's the wrong one. For example, here she'll have her like Microsoft open, and she'll have her her pen or finger, and she'll be able to write off like stars or things like that. So for example, if the child answers a correct question, she'll color the star or she'll cross off the star. So those are things that I noticed that she incorporates. If you have that type of technology with you, that's also a fun way to also incorporate the child into the session as well.
Perfect. All right, Ronnie. Well, thank you so much, like I said, for your great information here, the resources you're providing.
Also, one more thing. Before I forget.
Okay.
So another thing that I was thinking about doing. This is another thing we were talking about with my clinical director, Christina. We were thinking about, especially for our older clients. I know they have trouble maybe fulfilling some of their social skills programs. For example, conversation and things like that. So what I was thinking of doing, and in our end, we also asked Dr. Ackman if it was okay, and she said that it's okay to do. Is incorporate maybe my other clients who are the same age to maybe have a go-to meeting where they can speak to each other for like 20 to 30 minutes and go over the targets that we were initially can't do right now, but also can maybe implement in that way with telehealth, and they're able to communicate and things like that. So maybe even incorporating other case managers, clients as well. So if you guys want to like cooperate and things like that, I'm also for that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, you're talking about some virtual social skills, and that's something we're launching right now. We actually launched already with Dr. Ackman in the support of case managers and directors. So we're for sure, I think there's room for collaboration there. So thank you so much for that insight, Ronnie. So you have a good rest of your day, and I think this information is going to be very helpful for the rest of the team.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ronnie.
All right.
Good morning, Lily. Thank you so much for joining this morning to with this telehealth resource presentation. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me this morning. And can you tell us a little bit about your time at ICAN-B, and also like what regions you're working out of and some of the funding sources you're working with?
Yeah. So my name is Denae. I am currently a case manager for ICAN-B's Orange County location. I have clients all the way from Irvine to La Habra, and so I have a caseload of 10 clients as of right now, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in ABA, and I'm hoping to sit for the BCBA exam by November of next year, after I've completed all my hours. So what? Oh.
I said perfect. That's great insight in regards to your career and everything. So really quickly, can you tell us a little bit about some of the different documents that you have ready for us here? Some of the ways in which you're conducting parent training. I think that's going to be the main focus for today's conversation with you.
Yeah. So what I usually do, I mean, it really depends on which client I'm working with at that time. But specifically for my client Posehn, the main focus currently is reducing her tantrum behaviors maintained by escape and attention. Escape when like homework, a non-preferred activity is presented, and then tantrums when the main function is attention from parents, especially mom's attention. So in order to decrease those tantrum behaviors, we have implemented a non-contingent reinforcement schedule. So the main focus of parent training with this particular client has been implementing that NCR schedule by parents in order to decrease maladaptive behaviors. And even though this client is in kindergarten still, she does get a whole lot of homework that she needs to complete and turn it into her school each week. So parents have described that that is a difficult thing. So that's why this procedure was put in place. And it has been in place since March of this year.
Perfect. And then how do you prompt the parent to deliver the the attention, or to deliver the particular reinforcer that corresponds to the NCR procedure? Like what kind of timer, or how do you implement it?
Yeah, so what we do is, one of the main things that's really difficult for this kiddo is transitioning from a preferred activity to a non-preferred activity. So in order to make the table area preferred, we have reserved like small edible reinforcers like M&Ms and Skittles at the table that she would only be able to obtain when she's going to be transitioning. So as soon as she transitions to the table, we try to pair the table area with reinforcers, and then we begin the timer. So every 5 minutes she will be able to escape from the task, regardless of what her behavior is. Mm-hmm. So if she engages in tantrums during that 5 minutes, then she will not be able to obtain the gamepad. That's what she calls her iPad. So, but if she does not engage in tantrum when that 5-minute time period ends, she would be able to obtain the iPad. So that's how we're using DRA in that scenario. But either way, even if she engages in tantrum, she does get a break.
Perfect.
We try not to be like.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're also working with mom on placing. Mom is doing excellent on placing maladaptive behaviors on attention extinction. It's just dad, who's now at home most of the time, he would see that she's tantruming and so on, and would say like, "Oh, Posehn, no screaming," and so on. So now we're working mainly on dad placing those behaviors on attention extinction as well.
Perfect. And then with regards to using telehealth as a service delivery platform, like how do you prepare for a parent training session? How do you implement it during a parent training session, and afterwards, what are some things that you do as a follow-up?
Yeah, so what I do is like my sessions with each client is typically 1 hour or 2 hours. With this client, we do parent training 2 hours each week. Mm-hmm. So what I usually do is I give this mom about 5 to 10 minutes as a check-in period, mm-hmm. where I would ask like, okay, what have you tried this week? What's worked? What were her behaviors as she is collecting data outside of session as part of one of our parent training goals. So we would go over those behaviors and the topography of those behaviors. And after that check-in time, I would say, okay, so this is my agenda for the day. I'm going to be collecting data on X, Y, and Z. So she's supposed to be taking ABC data, mm-hmm. as one of her parent training goals. So I would set a time like 10-minute period or 30-minute period where we would collect ABC data while we're implementing the NCR schedule and so on, and also collecting problem behavior data as part of one of her other parent training goals. So as a reminder, I usually go over what the tantrums look like, what the onset and offset is, so that we'll have 100% IOA at the end of it.
Correct.
And I also go over what the functions of those behaviors are, and ensuring that the parents are implementing the behavior intervention plan with 100% fidelity.
Perfect. And then you're tracking the performance right as it happens on the spot. or do you do some role play when there's no opportunities for problem behaviors? How do you document, whether this, the parent is really has these different steps down?
Yeah, what we first started with, so this client has been a client of mine since October. So when we first started, I went over the definitions, gave the parents the behavior intervention plan, went over each step, so using behavior skills training. But now we're on the implementation stage of the intervention. So now they're supposed to be implementing it in the natural environment. But as a reminder, I still go over the behaviors. The parents already have this BIP printed out and so on, so they still have that if they need to refer back to it. But parents are doing great in terms of implementing it.
That's good. And then, so basically you have these different VIPs. And at this moment with the telehealth, service delivery model, so you say you went from this particular client had sessions every single day. Now you do once a week parent training. And, how have you been able to see a difference in the client? Has there been, some level of, improvement in regards to now parents being more involved? What has been your experience so far with that?
Yeah, what was very difficult with this particular client was dad was always out of home during our session times because he was working like 60, 70 hours per week in LA County. So we were never able to sit down with him even on weekends and so on to work with him on parent training. But now that he's home, he has been able to implement this NCR schedule. Out of the 2-hour period, he will be able to participate at least 15 minutes, which is a win compared to we were not able to engage with him at all. So the fact that he's able to see what we're doing and implement some steps in it is 100% a win. And when they first went down on lockdown during the beginning stages of the pandemic, we were seeing high rates of problem behavior maintained by dad's attention because as mom was saying, Phoebe wasn't used to seeing dad so much and would try to obtain dad's attention by engaging in maladaptive behaviors. But now that we've implemented the NCR schedule with dad, also those behaviors have decreased and now maintaining at 0 times per hour, thankfully.
Wow, that's great. So you're doing a lot of your parent training session is more geared towards the implementation component, and you're using a lot of feedback, I must imagine, and you probably feedback right after you observe the behavior, you correct the behavior, or you praise the correct performance of the response. So I mean, that right there is basically the essence, right? In regards to teaching for parent training, I think you don't want to get too in depth with other, conceptual things that, people sometimes want to talk about with parents, but I think this is really helping for sure, right?
Yeah, I would take frequency data and convert into rate per hour. So for example, in terms of implementation and providing differential reinforcement of alternative behaviors, in this particular session, mom provided reinforcement 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So 50 times within those 2 hours. So I collect data every time that I see she's reinforcing Phoebe's behavior, and at the end or in the middle of it, we'll have a check-in period like, oh, this is what you're doing right. This is what I would tweak, and so on.
Perfect. So you collect pretty some continuous data during the session, and you're just, like you said, tallying, and then you afterwards convert that to rate. That's a very important thing to do, and it's very different, right? Because we're so accustomed to, like you said, plus and minuses. You can actually utilize a rate, of actual performance in regards to these particular behaviors you're talking about.
Yeah, and this particular mom and dad loves getting feedback when it comes to their data, so it's also reinforcing to me to be able to give that feedback. So it's been great. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Denae, for sharing this information. I think the parent training aspect of telehealth is so important. I think there's no doubt that parent participation at this moment is like super, super important. And I think that your information is going to be very, very helpful for a lot of supervisors and even behavior technicians that are assisting with parent training. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate you sharing this information.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Take care.